Here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Ruffino's on Highland Road, welcome to the Friday edition, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Max Gotro. Jimmy Ott not with us today. Glad that you are, though. Chris Masero will be with us. Bruce Marshall, along with Troy Macker from Bet Rivers. And, well, we've got a few little other things that may materialize here today on a wet, cold, kind of dreary day here in Baton Rouge. But we're glad you're with us today. Max, how you doing?
Oh, doing well. How about yourself?
Football
Friday?
Just yeah, sort of, if you will. The that's why I adjusted the wrong one. Yeah. Okay. If you're a disgruntled Penn State fan, that ain't me. I ain't mad. I wouldn't be mad. You watched last night's playoff game. Fantastic theater between Notre Dame and Penn State. A game that Penn State, I thought, really controlled in the first half, but not on the scoreboard. And how many times do we see it? And this is where, if Jimmy were here, we would talk about, in-game opportunities. When you see a team that had controlled the game the way Penn State had, and yet only led it 10-3 at halftime, you thought, I thought, okay, that's trouble. When I'll give you one of the plays that I thought was a key to this game, or a section I thought was a real key to this game that doesn't have anything to do with Drew Aller, who we're going to talk about a lot, obviously. But near the end of the first half, with about a minute and change to go, Notre Dame had to replace their quarterback. They had to replace Riley Leonard. He took a shot with Steve Angeli. And the second play that Angeli ran, he was sacked. And there was the ball was on the ground, and it looked like Abdul Carter, who was the best player on the field last night, it looked like he hit a clear shot at the recovery. And somehow he missed it. I was just stunned that Penn State didn't have the ball there. Had they gotten the ball there, it was a 10-0 Penn State game at that point. The fumble was about the 40, the Penn State 40, and they would have had about a minute 10 had they gotten the ball there. Even if they don't score, if you're Penn State, it's okay. All right, you've turned it back. But somehow Notre Dame recovered the fumble. And Angeli, I thought, directed that drive pretty well for a guy who had come in cold off the bench. They got a field goal, and it seemed like that kind of lit a little spark. They're getting the ball to start the second half. I'm not telling you the outcome of the game is different, even though 3 points was the margin. But, boy, I thought that Penn State, if they had recovered that fumble and managed to score, especially if they scored a touchdown before the end of the first half, but I'm not going to assume that because the quarterback was bad last night, searching for a better word, but a nicer word, but he's just bad. But even if they get a field goal there, even if they don't score there, they don't give Notre Dame that spark. They gave Notre Dame that spark, gave them the momentum. And at halftime, Max, I'm kind of with Booger McFarland, who said, you know what, I'd start Angeli in the second half. At that point, we didn't know if Riley Leonard was going to go into the concussion protocol and be done for the game. He said, I'd stay with Angeli. And I thought kind of the same thing. Riley Leonard, to that point, had kind of struggled. They didn't have a whole lot. But they came back out in the second half. Leonard was ready to go. He led them on the touchdown drive, and game on. So I thought that was one of the key points in the ball game that didn't have anything to do with Allure. What did have a lot to do with Allure, before we get to the last one, the stats been bandied about all morning. No wide receivers caught balls for Penn State. That hasn't happened to that team, Penn State, in 20 years. I mean, even at the height of Les Miles' Flintstones offense, the wide receivers caught balls. They were really good wide receivers. Yeah. Allure was just all over the place last night. Besides the obvious, the interceptions and the interceptions that were called back, he missed open receivers all night. We've talked about him a lot. He looks the part. He's 6'5". He's 240 pounds. He's got this bazooka arm. He doesn't, prior to last night notwithstanding, turn the ball over a whole bunch. He'd only thrown 7 interceptions in 15 games before last night. That's a number you can live with. But boy, he missed open receiver after open receiver. And the first one that really, really hurt Penn State was the first play of the second quarter when they changed ends. They had a third down, and he swings the ball out of the backfield. This should be a touchdown. I scared the dog at my house because the quarterback goes back, and I said, he's got him. He's right there. Okay, I can see that on TV. And Alar saw him, and he throws the ball behind and low. I've seen tougher catches made, but that's on the quarterback. If my old buddy Alan Risher were here, he'd say, Charles, that's a throw you got to be able to make 11 times out of 10 falling out of bed in the morning if you're going to be a college quarterback. And he's right, okay? That is the easiest throw that Alar had the whole night, I thought. I mean, this is a ball that's in the air 10, 12 yards. This is an easy throw for somebody of his capability. And this is a 3-2 fastball that missed the zone by a foot and a half, okay? Could the kid have made the catch? Maybe. This is a bad throw. This is a really bad throw. Instead of 7, you get 3. You lead him at all, going to walk into the end zone. It's an easy throw. The first pick that was called back, I didn't really think was all that bad for Alar because the pass interference occurred very early in the play. It knocked the receiver off his route. It knocked him out of bounds. You can look and see that Alar thought he had a free play, and he did. The interception is never made without the pass interference. I'm giving him a pass on that one. The second one was, if the last play didn't cost him the game, I would say that this was the worst of the bunch, because he did 3 things on this play that were just absolutely awful on this interception in the end zone that got called back for pass interference. Number one, he threw into double coverage, okay? There were 2 other players in the vicinity, so this is one blue shirt in this sea of white and gold, okay? But he's got 2 guys that are on him. That's the first mistake. The second mistake is he underthrew the ball very badly, okay? He got bailed out with the pass interference. And then the third thing, and I'll do Jimmy's part here, because if he were here, this is the first thing he'd say, Charlie, it was on first down. And he's right, okay? So a first down throw into double coverage, underthrown, and that ends up – now they scored a touchdown on their drive anyway, okay? But that was another just awful decision. And then the third one, which everybody's been talking about all morning, which is, do you allow him to make that throw at that point in the game? It's 24-24. There's 38 seconds to go in the game in regulation. You got the ball on your own 15-yard line. Franklin called at that point what most coaches would have called, which is you call a running play, and if you pop it, well, then we'll talk. If he gets stuffed, in retrospect, the best thing for Penn State would have been if he'd gotten stuffed at the line of scrimmage, because if he gets stuffed on first down, I think they're taking the clock out and they're going to overtime. So him busting it for 13 yards to get him out to the 28, well, now you think you got a chance. 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line, and I heard McElroy on the broadcast. He said at the beginning of the drive, they trust Alar to take care of the ball here. He doesn't throw very many interceptions. And I thought, oh, boy, he had to say that out loud, didn't he? I don't know what the primary read or the secondary read were on the play. They were both covered. And then he does something, which is the cardinal sin, which he throws laid back over the middle. Listen, I've seen way more accomplished quarterbacks make this same throw. I was in the Superdome when Brett Favre made a very similar mistake in the NFC Championship game in 2009, the 2009 season, January 2010. And it cost the Vikings a trip to the Super Bowl, because if he just runs and gets what he gets there, I think Longwell makes the field goal and we don't have a black and gold Super Bowl that year. That's what I think would have happened. Who knows? Longwell could have missed a kick. But Favre, the Hall of Famer, the gunslinger, okay, throws back late over the middle. Tracy Porter makes the interception. The Saints take it to overtime, and the Saints win. This is exactly what Alar did, except he was rolling to his left and Favre was rolling to his right. You trusted your quarterback, and he made this mistake. How you put him in that situation is what James Franklin's going to have to live with, not just all offseason. He'll take this one to the grave. Should I have just sat on the ball there? And when you put the trust in your quarterback, it's like, listen, if this is you got to understand situational football. We're in the national semifinals. There's 30 seconds to go in the game. We are tied. The worst thing that can happen to us here, your quarterback's got to know, the worst thing that can happen to us here is we go to overtime. It cannot be any worse than that. You cannot throw any ball that has any chance to be intercepted. So if you're on this little half roll and you look, and these guys are covered, you got to chuck it in the second row. You can run the ball again. You can try to throw it another play. You can throw a ball very, very deep if you want, but you can't make that throw. And Franklin's got to know that his quarterback was struggling so badly at that point that you can't put him in position to make that throw. I'm sorry. You can give him an easy read, and if there's a guy open in the flats, see if he can turn it up and get out of bounds and make 15 yards or so. In a vacuum, you're at the 28-yard line. You need about 40 yards to give your kicker a good shot, and you got 33 seconds. In a vacuum, okay, that's doable. If my quarterback's humming, I can do that. His quarterback wasn't humming, man. His quarterback was playing one of the worst games that he's played at Penn State. He just was. And I'm sorry, but the run game was there for Penn State. They ran the ball for over 200 yards. That defense they gave up a lot of third down conversions, but they put Riley Leonard in some tough positions. The interception that started the drive that got Penn State the lead in the fourth quarter was a brilliant play by the defensive end that dropped into coverage. They put themselves in a position to win the game. And I thought most of the night Abdul Carter was the best player on the field. He did miss the one fumble recovery, but, man, the rest of the way, you've heard me talk about him. I've been a fan for a while.
He's not getting a number 9.
No, he's not getting a number 9. I don't know if he's getting a number 5.
No.
Back when the Saints were – you can vouch for me, okay? When we were watching games on Sunday, I said, why do you want the Saints to lose? I said, well, there's nobody I'm really in love with. I really like Abdul Carter. I think he's the best player that the Saints could draft in that spot, and I want them to get, because I think they need to be at 5 or 6 to get it, to have a reasonable shot. So when they ended up at 9, I'm like, this is before last night's game. They're not going to get Abdul Carter. Well, now Abdul Carter, I think, is coming off the board no later than number 4.
And came in last night with a very real shoulder injury.
Yeah, and played through it. If it were me, I would skip the quarterbacks. I understand that those teams need quarterbacks, but if it were me, I'd find a quarterback somewhere else, and I would take Travis Hunter number 1 and Abdul Carter number 2, regardless of what team it was, regardless of what my quarterback situation was. Now, if Andrew Luck were in the draft, no, I wouldn't pass up a quarterback like that, but I would pass on these 2 quarterbacks for those 2 players. Those teams probably won't, but I would. Those are the 2 best players in the draft to me.
And you say these quarterbacks, to give you an idea, just the Drew Aller hype, what it had gotten to, do some work with Cleveland Brown stuff. They have the number 2 overall pick, and they were asking me, is Drew Aller, is he good? Should we maybe take him? At number 2, they were talking about that if he comes out of the draft. I know it's a weak quarterback class, but that's kind of how he was looked at. The hype was getting a little out of control. I agree with you, Charlie, on just the situational decision-making there by James Franklin, who just five days ago told you, he is the one who makes those calls on how aggressive they are late in games. As he should.
He's a head coach. That's your job.
Absolutely. But you just, not only was the running game, successful all game long, their line of scrimmage was the better of the 2 teams, but they just had a 13-yard run by Singleton. I was shocked when they didn't hand it off to Singleton on that play. And, Aller said he was trying to scuff it, trying to throw it at his receiver's feet, but he was, you just can't trust him in that scenario. I was shocked they let him throw it there. And just kind of out of the corner of my eye, saw the receiver he was throwing to, and you could. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Really.
It's a situational football play. If he's going to ground the ball, as he says right there, he's going to throw the ball away. It's different if you're behind, okay, but you're tied. If you're going to throw it away, you can't throw it in the ground where you've got any chance for it to be intercepted. The ball can sail on you. You throw this thing halfway to Fort Lauderdale. I mean, you throw this thing so far in the stands that you got to be in the nosebleed section to catch it. If you're out of the pocket, so you don't have the grounding there. You can't do that. I mean, you just simply can't do that. I understand why the NFL likes him. He said a month ago that he was coming back, but he was waffling a little bit. There was some talk out there. If he had a big game, which he didn't. Okay, he going back
He
to
had a-
school.
he
He
had
going
a
back
big
to school.
game.
Yeah, he going back to school now. Okay,
he had a
for
big
sure.
game, just not in a good way.
I understand why they like him. He's big. He's got a strong arm. He looks good getting off the bus. I mean, if you squint real hard, I saw Ben Roethlisberger play at Miami of Ohio in Tiger Stadium. Okay, and then the 2 runs, okay, that he had in the second half, I understand why they like him, but the football IQ, the accuracy, the decision making, the big plays, the clutch play. It ain't there right now. Maybe a year from now, I don't know. But last night it wasn't there. So Notre Dame moves on, and I spent the whole time. Shame on me. I spent the whole time talking about Penn State's mistakes. I should talk about how Notre Dame won this game, which was with a lot of clutch plays, especially from the quarterback. He wasn't without fault. He threw a couple of picks, but when they needed a third down, more often than not, Riley Leonard was there to make that play. They were 11 out of 17 on third down. He made a lot of those plays with his feet. What Notre Dame has done better than anybody, I think, is take advantage of their opponent's mistakes. They did it with Georgia. They did it in the game against Indiana, although I thought they were clearly the better team that night. But I don't know that they're clearly better than Georgia or Penn State. Those are more even matchups, especially with Georgia's backup quarterback in the game. They take advantage of mistakes. When Georgia fumbled at the end of the first half, Notre Dame cashed it in immediately. When Georgia had a crease on the kickoff, they took advantage of that. When they fumbled last night, they got the fumble back and they cashed that in for points. And when they intercepted that ball at the end of the game, they made sure they got themselves in position to win it. If you flub up against Notre Dame, they will make you pay, and that's the mark of a good team. I give Marcus Freeman a lot of credit for that. That's a well-coached team. It's an injury-riddled team. You know, they're playing quite a bit shorthanded right now, but the quarterback stood up, made the plays. The backup quarterback stood up and made some plays. I mean, he was 6 out of 7 on that drive, Max. It gets you points at the end of the first half. It was crucial,
huge.
And they got every point that was made available to them, and Penn State squandered some of their opportunities.
A team that makes you pay like that has good culture, is well coached. This is a third-year Notre Dame head coach. 4 of 5 coaches at Notre Dame who have won national titles did it in their third season. Brian Kelly made it in his third season at Notre Dame. Third season? I mean, you wish you were here, but yeah, Marcus Freeman, ton of credit for what they did last night and all season long.
Come on out and see us here at Ruffino's. Appetizer features today include the tempura fried cauliflower with a sweet and spicy chili glaze. I'm not usually a big cauliflower person, but you put sweet chili glaze on just about anything, man. I'm going to take some of that. Butternut squash and shrimp bisque, another one of your appetizer features. The fish feature today is the pan-seared blue cobia, and that comes with jasmine rice. Pork asabuco today, also with that wild mushroom pork demi-glaze. And for dessert today, fried ice cream. It's caramel ice cream with graham crackers and toasted coconut coating, chocolate drizzle, whipped cream. Hal has already ordered this here before we even open the restaurant. Come on by and see us here at Ruffino's on Highland Road. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
United Community Bank, the local way to bank big with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of Southern Louisiana for over 50 years, including their newest branch at Burbank and Bluebonnet.
Masero.
Our great team at United Community Bank, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Prentice Wilkes, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, and David Henry. You know, running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like like free money? Download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Get holiday ready at Robinson Brothers Ford. Get our best deals on a huge selection of new 2024 F-150s and new 2024 F-250s. SUV buyers buy today and save $10,000 off MSRP in the 2024 Expedition Limited. Or get $5,000 off MSRP plus 2.9 APR for 72 months. And as always, no unexpected fees. Hurry to Robinson Brothers Ford.
Excludes TTNL registration, insurance, and dealer fees. Courtesy transportation unit. Cash from dealer and Ford. APR with approved credit. Ends 102/2025.
Hi, this is Gordy Rush, inviting you to elevate brand visibility and ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Introducing Guarantee Media Digital. Secure your free digital audit now at guaranteemedia.com.
You know, Demco is more than just an electric company. We're your local member-owned co-op, your neighbors, your family, and your friends. Whether it's helping you manage your account, offering energy-saving tips, or investing in the next generation through scholarships and youth programs, we're here for you every step of the way. Enriching communities, building careers, and supporting the lives of our members. Demco, powering life and community. That's the cooperative difference.
Are you tired of glasses, contacts, or readers, or is it just time to schedule your annual eye exam? Well, the Williamson Eye Center has provided excellence in eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery for 75 years. Call the Williamson Eye Center for a free vision correction consultation to get out of those glasses, contacts, and readers. Visit the Williamson Eye Center in 7 locations around Greater Baton Rouge or call 924-2020. That's 924-2020 or online at williamsoneye.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish built. Parish built. Parish built. From your hometown. ParishBuilt.com. K to Z window coverings.
Brandon Barton here, and I want you to join my expanding team at K to Z Window Coverings. If you're ready to work, we offer insurance, a retirement plan, competitive pay, a company vehicle, and my 26 years of experience to help you become a successful part of our team. We're blessed to be in high demand, so call me today. Don't let someone else get your job. Go to k2zblinds.com.
K to Z window coverings.
Happy New Year from all of us at Trash Rangers of Louisiana. Start your new year out right. Visit trashrangers.com and make the switch today.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show is available on demand, LouisianaSports.net, 104.5 ESPN.com. New Handycast podcast with Richard Dixon and myself breaking down LSU game film from the bowl game is up on YouTube right now. Let's bring in Chris Masero as we get ready for the rest of the playoffs, but we first look back to last night and Chris's thoughts. Chris, good morning. How are you?
Good, Charlie. I'm doing great. How you doing, Max? I just wanted to say a quick prayer for Jimmy and his family. Last week I was unaware of what had transpired and just a horrific incident, and my heart just goes out to Jimmy, his son, and everyone involved.
I'll pass those words along, Chris, and we really appreciate it. Thank you for saying that. Your thoughts about last night's game, Notre Dame with the last-second field goal to beat Penn State?
You got to say Marcus Freeman coached a perfect game. I mean, there were some questionable calls. You could say maybe they got a little lucky here and there, but I just think he pushed all the right buttons. They looked overmatched in the first half, and to come out the second half, especially with Leonard questionable, and to be able to flip the script pretty quick in that game, I give him a lot of credit. He's got a lot of class. I like what he said after the game. I thought, Penn State seems like they have weapons, and they just couldn't get it done. I know I heard you guys talking earlier about Alar and just how he's not able to make the big play, and he underthrew that walk-in touchdown on third down in the first play of the second quarter. So the questionable throw into traffic at the end that kind of cost them. So I just got to give credit to Notre Dame. I didn't think they had it. Point, especially with the injuries that they're with, and not many explosive players on the outside. Give a job.
Yeah, the thing with Notre Dame is when you make a mistake, they make you pay for it. I left one play out when we were doing the open, which was the defensive back for Penn State falling down, and there's Greathouse, going down the sideline. Leonard doesn't miss him. Okay, Alar missed a much easier throw for a touchdown for Penn State. When the defensive back fell down, Leonard saw it. He went there. He delivered the throw on the money, and Greathouse was able to get in the end zone. So if you play Notre Dame, you try to beat yourself, they'll help you. They don't miss when they have an opportunity to take advantage of an opponent's mistake over these last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, you're right. They don't make that many mistakes. It was incredible. I was on the under in the game. I had under first quarter. I had no score first quarter, under first half, and I had under in the game. And I looked and I'm like, how can I hedge this? See what was happening. And I mentioned to a few people last night when Notre Dame got the ball back before that touchdown where the guy fell down, they were like plus 400 to win the game. And I go, this is a good way to hedge. I'm just going to take Notre Dame to win the game instead of having to hedge the over. Because if they score a touchdown, it's obviously going to go over, and I can always come back with Penn State in overtime if I wanted to. But I never had to. And the guy falls down, and boom, they scored. I couldn't believe the price on that. And you're right. They take advantage of the mistakes, and Penn State definitely made a few of them. All
right, let's talk about tonight's game, Ohio State and Texas. A lot of public support on the Buckeyes. We're showing 6 here, even a couple of shops, maybe a 6.5 here for Ohio State, and a total at 53.5. What do you think about tonight's other semifinal?
I know it's square, and I know you're paying this big tax on Ohio State, but I just can't see Texas slowing down Ohio State's offense. I mean, look at last week. Arizona State, 510 yards, 29 first downs. And the flip side of the whole situation is that Texas isn't able to run the ball all of a sudden. I mean, Arizona State shut them down, only 53 yards rushing, which means you have to put the game in the hands of Quinn Ewers. And I don't think anyone feels too confident on the Texas side that Quinn Ewers is going to be, like Alar, is he going to be able to rise up and make these big plays? He really hasn't shown it. I guess they got that big fourth down play to tie the game. I guess you can give him credit for that, but he just doesn't look that comfortable. He makes me nervous. He throws a lot of balls in traffic. I could see Ohio State getting up early, and they're going to have to open the game up, and that's going to lead to possible turnovers from Ewers. I really like Ohio State. I mentioned last week I got Ohio State to win the whole thing at plus 120. Now it's minus 165. So I know it sounds square and it's chalky, but I really like Ohio State. I think Ohio State's going to go over the team total. And I look for Ohio State to beat Notre Dame in the championship.
The only thing I'm worried about with Ohio State, if I'm Ryan Day, I take Chip Kelly aside today, and I say, if you call a game like you called against Michigan or Nebraska, we're leaving you here in the damn snow. Okay, where you don't even get to come home with us. Other than that, I think Ohio State's good here, but I like Penn State last night too. So
they'd probably leave Ryan Day with them.
Yeah, they would if they let Chip Kelly call a game like that. Call a game the way you call the last two, and you're fine. Chris, we got
real quick. I mentioned it with Matt Murray on VSiN on Monday night, and I mentioned one thing. I go, if Ryan Day and Chip Kelly continue to coach like they're coaching, and not coach scared like they usually coach at Ohio State, they should easily run the table and win the whole thing. But to your point, if they go back and revert to some crazy game plan where they're going to try to pound it up the middle on the Texas front four, that's idiotic at best.
Let's think that they will have learned from their mistakes. All right, Chris, wildcard weekend, 6 games to pick from. Where are your plays this weekend in the NFL?
Well, my strongest play was the Rams, but the play where I played it got canceled. So I'm still going to go back to the Rams. I like them plus 2.5. I think McVay knew that he could beat either one of these teams at home. If Minnesota, I'm still smarting over the teams I gave out last week that Minnesota was unable to cover. But I think McVay knew that he could beat either one of these teams, and why not beat them at home? Whoever was the team that lost, he was going to get that team to come home. And the fact that it worked out that Detroit beat Minnesota, this same situation transpired earlier in the season, Week 8, where Minnesota, who had just lost to Detroit, came out to L.A., beat up team because you play Detroit. It's a tough physical game. And these teams that have played Detroit the week prior, the following week, they are only 5-8 versus the spread, with 3 of the teams having a bye week. If you factor in the bye week, they're only 6-10. If you dig a little deeper, 3 of the 6 wins came against New England. So of the whole season, if New England's not involved, if you play Detroit the next week, you only have 3 wins. So I feel like the Vikings on a short week off a tough game, that was for everything. The number 1 seed, they're going to be feeling a little deflated. You have the Rams team that's healthy. They had a nice little bye week last week. They got a defense that's playing a lot better than it was at the beginning of the year. And the way that Detroit rushed up the middle, I think Jared Verse is going to have a field day coming up the middle on that Minnesota offensive line. You got Stafford, the veteran. Puka has just been unbelievable. They just have all the weapons. I think McVay is going to have them ready, and I like them to win the game outright, even though they moved the game to Arizona.
Chris, are you like me? You'd rather have the extra point and a half and have the game in Arizona than to have it back at a 1-point spread or even a pick 'em. I think we saw maybe earlier in the week. I'd rather have the points and play the game in Arizona.
I would. Yeah, I would, but unfortunately, I played the game last Sunday night, and I had the 2.5 at LA, so that's why I'm kind of bummed out about it.
I can understand that. You would have got everything. All right, the Rams.
I'm not sure what that Rivers gets you for teasers or what lines you guys are able to access, but I'm still finding like there's some certain areas where you can get a Buffalo at 8.5 and a Rams at 2.5. If you can tease that down, I know some of these places are charging like crazy juice. I was just trying to play it at Caesars. They want to charge me minus 147 to get it to 2.5 and 8.5. So it's just, whatever you can find. I wouldn't advise laying that much of a juice on a tease, but if you can get a regular teaser with the Rams to 8.5 and Buffalo down to 2.5, I would advise with that.
Yeah, the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Queen will get you down to Bills minus 2.5 and Rams plus 8.5 at minus 120. That's 6-point teaser. So.
Okay, that's
not bad, Max.
Lot more reasonable. All right, so you got the Rams. Anybody else on Wild Card Weekend?
Well, I do like Buffalo. I like the team total over. I won't bore you with the stats. I'm just not impressed with Denver. They just their defense is a product of their schedule. The teams they beat are just. I know we've mentioned it before. The Jets, Vegas twice, New Orleans, Carolina, Atlanta, Cleveland, Indy, the Kansas City B team. I really think Josh Allen, Cook's here. They've been rested. All their weapons have been rested. They're finally going to be playing a big game at home. This might be the year. Do they beat Kansas City? Do they beat Baltimore? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure they're going to beat Denver, and I like their team total over. And I'll give you another team total over. I really like Washington's team total over. This Buccaneers defense, they were having trouble stopping Spencer Rattler and the New Orleans Saints last week. That was a huge comeback game. Baker took a lot of big hits in that game. I think this Washington team is a little bit of a sleeper. It's a little bit of a revenge game too because they played in Week 1. I could see our boy Jaden Daniels getting a little loose and putting up some big numbers. There's a couple. I don't know if you can find this down there as well, but Circa has team to score the most points on Wild Card Weekend, plus 950 on Washington. So I might take a little sprinkle on that. I like team total over 23.5 Washington, team total over 27.5 Buffalo, and I like the Rams to pull off a little bit of an upset in Glendale.
At the Queen, we are getting 23.5 with Washington, 28.5 with Buffalo,
and Commanders 8-1 highest total points. Is that okay? 8-1. Sarah?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair because you look, that's the highest total on the board, and if you think Washington has a chance to beat Tampa, which I do, I think what's Tampa like 4-1 for the highest scoring. So I think it's a pretty good value if you think Washington has a chance to win the game, which I do.
Chris, as always, we appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words, and we always appreciate your contributions. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great weekend.
All right. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Max. Have a great day.
We'll take a break here at Ruffino's. Troy Macker from Bet Rivers when we return live at Ruffino's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Windows, doors, siding, and shutters. Relief Windows has it all for you. Your homeowners association require wood windows. We're proud to be the premier gelled wood windows company at Relief Windows. These wooden windows combine the beauty of real wood with high-tech energy efficiency features for all climate zones, specially built for extreme weather conditions here in South Louisiana. Built using RLS wood, gelled windows come with a 20-year general warranty and a lifetime limited warranty against rot and termites, providing years of beauty and minimal maintenance. Sure wish I'd known about these gelled windows from Relief Windows at the original construction of my home. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com.
Welcome to the Chevy Lightning Round. Guess the clues to win. First team, you're up.
Powerful, commanding, unstoppable.
Silverado.
Adventurous, fun, techie.
Trailblazer.
Stylish, nimble.
Trax.
Innovative, electric.
Blazer EV. Lightning Round champions. You've guessed all the right Chevy clues.
Wherever the year takes you, explore it together in the Chevy of your choice. See your Super Chevy dealers today.
Remembering how nervous I was planning to propose to my wife, I've got some advice for you guys going through the same thing. Just relax and go to Lee Michaels. Why? Man, where do I even start? First of all, it doesn't matter what size diamond you're looking for or how much money you have to spend. Lee Michaels will make you feel comfortable with your purchase. They've been in the community for 40 years and now have 2 locations in Baton Rouge, on Corporate at Bocage, and in the Mall of Louisiana, Lafayette, Shreveport, and also New Orleans. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com.
Buying insurance is just part of running a business. Spend more time running that business instead of managing policies and call Highland Insurance Group. They believe your insurance broker should be a trusted part of your team, like your CPA or attorney. Maybe all you know about your current insurance program is that it's expensive. Have Jonathan Carbo and his team come in for a conversation. Whether it's commercial property, auto, employment practices, or cyber coverage, Highland Insurance Group has a market for you. Don't wait until after the storm, accident, or breach to reach out. Do it today. Highland Insurance Group at highlandig.com.
It's a new year. Aren't you ready to finally get the IRS off your back? Hi, I'm attorney Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. We've helped so many people figure out their IRS issues, and they always tell us they wish they'd called us sooner. Friends, the IRS isn't going away. Matter of fact, they're ramping up their efforts. So now's the time to call the Bryson Law Firm and let us get between you and the IRS and make your life better. If you have wage levies, bank levies, tax liens, or unpaid taxes, call the Bryson Law Firm and let us get out in front of the IRS and devise your best resolution plan. IRS problems are legal problems. So call the Bryson Law Firm. We're local. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit brysonlawfirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Bryson Law Firm. Results may vary. LSBA filing number LA2316155.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge invites you to celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with us, bowl season. Starting Wednesday, December 18th through Monday, January 20th, listen to live play-by-play of a variety of college bowl games, including all the rounds of the college football playoffs and national championship. Here we go! For a complete schedule of games you'll hear, visit 1045ESPN.com. Celebrate bowl season with 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
For service you can feel, you gotta call Capital City Comfort.
When your HVAC system is in expert hands, your home's comfort is effortless. From fast repairs to seamless installations, Capital City Comfort is committed to delivering expert service you can feel all year long. Visit online at capitalcitycomfort-br.com.
For service you can feel, you gotta call Capital City Comfort.
At Lewis Mechanical, no plumbing job's too big or too small, and we have the best technicians around. Lewis Mechanical specializes in both commercial and residential plumbing repairs.
Lewis Mechanical, keeping plumbing humming.
This new year, we resolve to get you the roll-off dumpster you need for your project. Start your new year outright. Visit trashrangers.com and make the switch today.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
121-1674. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. 3 best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
And return here at Ruffino's Live at Lunch. Troy Macker setting up. You can tell, Troy, Max, he's getting ready for his first Commanders playoff game in a very, very long time on Sunday night. Troy, good morning. How are you?
Thanks for having me on, boys. Yeah, I'm excited. The one thing I don't like is that as a Commanders fan, I don't get playoff opportunities all that often. And since, let's call it like 1999, I think 70% of their playoff games, which again, not a lot, have been against the Seahawks or Buccaneers. I'm kind of tired of playing the same teams and losing to the same teams. The last playoff game they played with Taylor Heineke, a quarterback, was against the Buccaneers. And it was inverse, where the Commanders had won the NFC East with basically a 500 record. So they got to host a home game against the Buccaneers, who had Tom Brady, who I believe finished second in the NFC South, but had the 12 wins. And this time around it's flipped, where the Buccaneers, still had a winning record, but are playing a 12-win team who did not win their division. The big difference is, for that game with Taylor Heineke versus Tom Brady, which is a hilarious thing to say, there were no fans in the stand because it was the COVID year. So this will be a true playoff game, but I'm very excited. Anytime your team can get an extra game, especially when they're not, the Chiefs or the mid-off Patriots, like, that's all I'm really going for, because, there hasn't been much to root for. So you win one game and then anything could happen.
When I was growing up, Washington was in the playoffs pretty much every year. I mean, I grew up with the Theismann, Riggins, Darrell Green, Dexter Manley, Joe Gibbs. They were there every year, and a number of those years they won Super Bowls. And it's just been that's such ancient history, but there weren't NFC play. I mean, I'm a Saints fan, okay? So, when the rare occasions when the Saints made the playoffs, Washington was in the playoffs every year. San Francisco was in the playoffs every year. The Giants were in the playoffs almost every year. That's a long time ago. long time ago. Yeah. What do you like in that game? Let's just start there. We're seeing the Commanders as about a 3-point underdog, and our friend Chris Masero just said, hey, it's worth taking a shot on Washington to score the most points in Wild Card Weekend at 8 or 9 to 1. What are you seeing as far as the lines go there, and what do you think of Washington's chances?
Yeah, so I do like their chances. I do think it will be a close game. I would be keen taking Washington. I'd probably tease and take them 3.5 or 4 or to cover, just in case. I think it's going to be a one-score game. Now, this game, I believe, has the highest total of the wild card weekend. It's above 50. I know that. But so
it is. It's 50.5. Yeah, 50.5.
So I believe it's the only game that of wild card weekend that's over 50.
It is.
I do wonder if this is going to trend away from the public, and it's going to be a low-scoring game. Now, there's not a lot of data or metrics to suggest that. Both defenses not very good. Both offenses very prolific. The Commanders secondary got torched in week 1 against Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin obviously is not playing. Jaden Daniels has done everything in the last 5 weeks. Everything's suggesting points. There's a lot of strength of the money and tickets on the over, but this is the playoffs. The games slow down in the playoffs. I think there's going to be more punting than we saw in week 1. My big concern is that the Commanders' running game, not including their quarterback, has been dreadful over the last 6 weeks. Absolutely dreadful. Brian Robinson Jr. has not been able to get anything going. Certainly they haven't had Austin Eckler. They will have him back. I think having him catch passes out of the backfield should open things up a little bit more. And I think that, getting a healthy center and Tyler Gaddis back will be huge for the Commanders' offense. I think it's a one-score game, and I probably lean the under. I think it's probably going to be, I could see a total at 48, which would hit the under. But just because it's the playoffs, I would lean the under on the highest scoring or the highest point total of the weekend, even though everything suggests there's going to be a lot of points in this game.
Troy, let me work backwards on some of these NFL games, because I want to go to Monday night. And what have you seen from an action standpoint since this game was moved to Glendale? Moved the spread somewhere around 1.5. Minnesota's 2.5 was what we're showing right now. What has that done with the action since the announcement that the game's moved out of LA?
Well, since the game's been moved out of LA and that line did move, we've actually taken more money on the Rams to cover. And I think that's because it's gone from it was 1 to 2.5, and that's pretty significant for a playoff game. You remove the home field advantage certainly, but I don't know how good the LA home stadiums have been for a home field advantage other than familiarity for the players. But what we really saw is an uptick in Minnesota money line handle the second day that the Fires really started to take over. I think, what was that, Wednesday? We took 2 or 3, 5-figure bets on the Vikings to win. And at the time, it was pretty even. You got them at like minus 114, which is a great money line price. Just because if there's the potential for the game to be moved, and also, the players have other things on their mind. Their potentially families live in the area. There's distractions to their everyday life. So we've seen a huge push towards Minnesota to win, but in the last, what has it been, 18 hours or so since the game was moved, we've actually seen more money come in on the Rams to cover now that, the public has gotten that extra 1.5 points.
Troy, on the other 4 NFL games, any significant splits that you've noticed that are noteworthy?
Yeah, well, the best result for the public this week will be a big win for the Eagles. Right now, the Eagles, it's now -5. It's been -4.5. 88.3% of the money is on the Eagles to cover, and 76% of the tickets is on the Eagles to cover. The 76% is the strongest play of any spread play of Wild Card Weekend. Philadelphia -5 is the second most wagered on play thus far, only behind Baltimore money line, and that's a Saturday night game. Obviously, we've taken more money on the Saturday games than the Sunday games, and Baltimore, a heavy favorite against a Pittsburgh team that has lost 4 in a row and looks to just be limping into the playoffs. So the fact that Philadelphia -5 is probably the biggest liability for the sportsbook is Philadelphia winning big. And, it seems like Jordan Love's going to play. I think there's been some gamesmanship there, but he's going to be banged up. He has been banged up this season. So, we would like to see a low-scoring Packers win. That's what would be best for the sportsbook in terms of the most important result from Wild Card Weekend.
All right. Now back to tonight's game, Ohio State and Texas. This line seems to be going back. More money coming in on Ohio State. You tell us what the splits are where you are and what that line is currently sitting at Bet Rivers for Texas and Ohio State.
Yes, so certainly all the money line money is on Ohio State. 85% of the money on the Buckeyes to win, 84% of the tickets on the Buckeyes to win. Now, as far as the spread goes, and it's Ohio State -6. 71% of the tickets is on Ohio State to cover. 53% of the money is on Texas to cover. We've taken half a dozen 5-figure bets on Texas to cover, 5.5, 6, some teasers to 6.5. We've taken a couple 5-figure bets on some alt line Ohio State, at -3, -4. That price will be, -194, -165, something like that. So it seems to be that people think Ohio State's going to win, but they're not very confident that Ohio State's going to win by 6 or more. The best result for the sportsbook would be a low-scoring Texas win. Good luck with that. Good luck with keeping Ohio State from scoring. They have looked electric, and Texas has been the low-scoring team. So personally, I think Ohio State wins this game. I do think they win it big, just based off how I've seen them play the last two games. But yeah, the public is all over Ohio State to win, and right now, the Texas to cover. I could see that line moving down to maybe 5.5. I think, just to see if maybe people will bet on Ohio State a little bit more from a coverage standpoint. And the interesting thing here is we took a massive 5-figure futures bet on Texas to win the national championship in late July. It was over $25,000, and if Texas wins 2 more games, that will pay out $250,000. So there is a huge futures liability on Texas, even though we've taken far more futures bets on Ohio State throughout the year, entering the season as one of the 2 favorites and continuing, throughout the entire season, and with the odds getting a little bit longer after that loss to Michigan.
Troy, we always appreciate your time. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
You guys did the same. Thank you so much.
All right, and we are here at Ruffino's. We'll come back to wrap up hour number 1 live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Chad Reynolds, a Legacy Title, 296-0060 for all of you real estate closings. Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, our great staff at Legacy Title. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, a Legacy Title, 296-0060.
When you walk through the doors at Duplessis Builders, you open the doors to your backyard paradise. We'll help you with every detail of your dream pool, your outdoor kitchen, and even your own putting green. You'll see for yourself why at Duplessis Builders, we say, if you can dream it, we can build it. Come dream in our showroom today in Gonzales at Airline and Duplessis or online at duplessisbuilders.net. That's duplessisbuilders.net for your backyard paradise.
Did your doctor prescribe physical therapy? And when you went to the location closest to your house, did they really work on you to get rid of your problem? Or did they take you through a list of exercises you could find on Google? Ladies and gentlemen, that is not physical therapy. My name is Robbie Bolton, owner of Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports. And if you're an active individual and you're having nagging knee pain with running, or your elbow or shoulder hurts with tennis or hitting a volleyball, don't go to someone's one of many locations. Come to the location. Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports on Starring Lane.
Hooters is your headquarters for all the postseason football action. You can catch all the games at Hooters or spice up your at-home watch party with wings to go. And look, if your team's got you feeling a little crabby, head to Hooters for $19.99 snow crab legs, wild caught, steamed to perfection, and served to the side of butter. Hooters crab legs are guaranteed to make you happy. And for a limited time, they're just $19.99 a pound, all day, every day at Hooters. Winging it since 1983.
The action is heating up this playoff season at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Lock in your touchdown picks, check out trending parlays, and increase your winnings with profit boosts. New customers can get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. And unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code RADIO to get started today. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with the Bears Lake Charles. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Do you feel like you get hurt at the most inconvenient times? Brock's After Hours Clinic has you covered for a break, sprain, or strain. Open 7 days a week, nights and weekends. Walk-ins welcome. Learn more, brortho.com.
Be a money saver at your High Neighbor Supermarkets. Quality meat at the lowest possible price. USDA Choice Sherman's Reserve Boneless Rump Roast, $4.99 a pound. Fresh Sanderson Farms Chicken Wings, $2.99 a pound. Fresh Lean Center Cut Pork Chops, $2.49 a pound. Lean and Meaty Baby Back Ribs, $2.49 a pound. What keeps you coming back to High Neighbor?
The meat, all of it. They have the best meat around.
Well, congratulations, Carol Stovall. We're buying your groceries.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. High Neighbor.
The worst corridor for sex trafficking is New Orleans to Houston. Meninoia Manor is a safe house for trafficked girls. It helps with their healing and provides education and life skills. Donate now at helpprotectthesegirls.com.
This is Charles Hanniger for Supreme Rice. I sort of feel like a member of the Supreme Rice family because they're from Southwest Louisiana, just like me. So when you're enjoying Supreme Rice, the perfect complement for all your red and white beans, stews, gumbos, and etouffees, know that you're also supporting our Louisiana farmers and stretching your food dollar at the same time. Supreme Rice, for the last 80 years, has been delighting their customers. So pick up Supreme Rice the next time you shop. For more information and unique recipes, learn more at supremerice.com.
Do you have a big business, small business, or nonprofit? Whether your business is planning its next big step or just taking its first, you can benefit from Gulf Coast Bank and Trust's knowledgeable bankers, their personal service, and business solutions. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
If you live in Ascension or Livingston Parish, you need one of our red cans this new year. Just make the switch. It's a perfect New Year's resolution. Visit trashrangers.com and make the switch today.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
APL Pro Team is out. Here's some items of note. Lamar Jackson, the first-team quarterback, ahead of Josh Allen, who was the second-team quarterback. That may tip you off a little bit as to where the MVP race is going to end up. The starting wide receivers, Max, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know 2 of those guys were pretty good at LSU. Hey, well, guy out there, the Heisman Trophy quarterback, and those two guys that are receivers are going to be first-team All-Pro guys, very early in their career. Saquon Barkley was the first-team running back. They do one running back and three receivers. Brock Bowers, the rookie out of Georgia, first-team All-Pro in his rookie season, set a record that was still held by Mike Ditka. Tell you how far that one goes back. Linebackers on the first team include Zach Bond, former Saint of the Eagles, Trey Hendrickson, led the league in sacks, another former Saint. Just saying. First team all SEC, all pro cornerbacks. One that the Tigers got and one that they thought that they had. Derek Stingley, first team all pro corner, and the other one, of course, is Patrick Surtain, who's had a phenomenal year with the Broncos. Allen was a second-team quarterback. Derrick Henry, second-team running back. And there was something else I wanted to point out. Oh, yeah, J.T. Gray, special teamer with the Saints, the lone New Orleans representative, second-team all-pro special teams player, J.T. Gray.
30. So he's our best player. I take it. We were trying to scramble for who the biggest name on the Saints is right
now. Sure. Why not? They didn't put anybody in the Pro Bowl team. Penei Sewell, also a first team all pro. Jimmy would want me to mention that from Detroit on the first team, all pro at right tackle. Hour number 2, straight ahead here, live at Ruffino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
It's the best of all worlds. Great cigars, great cocktails, and an amazing atmosphere. It's Don Juan's Cigar Bar. Located in Town Center, Don Juan is the perfect place to enjoy a great cocktail, beer on tap, a wide selection of scotches and bourbons, and of course, a fine premium cigar. Sit back, relax, let the time fade by. Don Juan's Cigar Bar. Great cocktails, great cigars, the good life. Check them out online, DonJuanCigarBar.com.
Looking for your hometown getaway to keep your family active this winter? You've got it at Southern Oaks Athletic Club. Voted best fitness and health club in Baton Rouge, this premier athletic club features world-class fitness amenities and over 50 group classes weekly. Tennis enthusiasts enjoy top-notch program in hydro clay and hard courts, and families love the giant heated and cooled pool with food and beverages. Parents get to enjoy all the amenities while kids are having a blast in the fun zone. Right now, we have a special for half off registration for any membership. Visit us online at soakitup.com.
Hey, it's Gordy Rush, and one thing for sure, my friends at Gulf Coast Bank and Trust have the tools you need from a bank to help you reach your goals. Whether your business is planning its next big step or just taking its first, you can benefit from Gulf Coast Bank and Trust's knowledgeable bankers, their personal service, easy-to-use technology, and business solutions. So get to know the local bank that cares about you. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Rouse's Markets has been baking Mardi Gras king cakes for 65 years. Their king cake crew bakes more than 600,000 king cakes during carnival season. You can smell that gourmet cinnamon dough throughout the store. Rouse's makes traditional king cakes and filled king cakes and new specialty king cake flavors every year. Send someone a taste of Mardi Gras. Rouse's ships their award-winning king cakes anywhere in the continental U.S. Order at Rouses.com, official supermarket of the Saints.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hey, do you love beef? I mean premium Angus beef. Sagrera Farm sells the whole sides and quarters straight from the farm. Ready to fill your freezer with tender, flavorful ribeyes, fillets, strips, brisket, ground beef, and a lot more. I want to introduce you to Louisiana's own Sean Sagrera of Sagrera Farms, a hidden gem just 30 minutes north of Baton Rouge. What's Sean's secret? Mating genetically superior Angus cattle and then ensuring that every day in the life of his cattle is a great one. Happy, healthy cattle, finished on grain, dry-aged, 45 days, creates consistent and predictable, flavorful beef. When you take a bite of Sagrera Farms beef, you'll know that this is not some mass-produced afterthought. So if you want the best, and I mean the best in Angus beef, go online to Sagrera Farms SegreraFarms.com. Or better yet, call Sean right now at 225-719-1723. Segrera Farms.
Respect isn't something that's just given, it's earned. It comes from having experience and possessing knowledge that can be passed on to the next generation. Jim's Firearms.
Louisiana's big weather can mean big damage to your roof. Our team offers free inspections and guarantees your satisfaction. Call 756-8603 or visit riceandroofing.com.
Just to be on the safe side.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Otten Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Ruffino's live at lunch. Come on out here today. Lunch features include the tempura fried cauliflower, sweet and spicy chili glaze, butternut squash, and shrimp bisque, which I just saw one of the patrons here have. Patrons, we're not even at golf yet. It looks real good. The pan-seared blue cobia is your fish feature today. The pork ossobuco and fried ice cream for dessert. That's here at Ruffino's. Bruce Marshall joins us now from Las Vegas. Bruce, good morning where you are. Good afternoon where we are. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. I was actually in Southern California earlier this week. Felt some of those winds, though I was a little bit away from the fires. But I hadn't felt wind like that in California since the Laguna fires in 1993. So it was scary.
God bless those people out there and what they're going through right now. Bruce, the old NFL primetime when Chris Berman and Tom Jackson used to do the highlights, which I always used to like. They had a funny line once. It was when Vinny Testaverde was playing for the Browns, and there was a big defensive bust. And Berman says, hey, they lose the coverage here. TJ, whose fault is this? And he says, well, Vinny. Because they blamed Vinny for everything. I thought it was a funny line, So we blame James Franklin for everything that goes wrong in Penn State big games. Fair or not fair based on what you saw last night?
Probably not fair. Although, and I hate to go into hindsight with this stuff because you're doing it after the fact. But and this might have been as much Kodal Nicky at the end of the game there, but right at the end, and I'm nitpicking, in the last minute, they had the right, and that when the drive started at the 15, they did have time to get to a field goal. And the first play was a proper play. They went for a run, 13 yards. I think it was Singleton. It might have been Brown. They had enough time. They probably about six. They had a couple timeouts, so they still had 6-7 plays probably to get in the field goal range. But another run, a shorter pass, get it out to the 40 or so, and then start to throw downfield. Against those ball hawks, you're just inviting trouble. And I think, to be accurate here, I mean, Aller threw a couple of interceptions into the end zone that were called back on earlier Penn State scoring drives before the first field goal and before one of the touchdowns in the second half. So he kind of got bailed out. Aller clearly panicked on that throw. So I'm really nitpicking here, but I thought they should have waited another play or two to start throwing downfield there. They were just inviting trouble, and it's sort of like what Kirby did at the end of the first half last week with Georgia. That Notre Dame defense is so good, they can make things happen, and that just sort of you walk into a trap with them, and that's what can happen. Leonard showed some poise last night. I thought that was good. But the Franklin question, I think it is sort of fair, though, to bring it up. I mean, his record in these games against ranked teams, and let's face it, he did get sort of a break in the first two rounds. I can see where they're a little exasperated there. They got it. They just haven't been able to get over the hump in these sorts of games at Penn State. It is great work to get to that point, but I think a bit of this criticism is probably fair.
They win all the games where they're favored. They lose almost all the games where they're underdogs. Now they were both this week, depending on when you placed your action, but they went off as a small favorite when they finally kicked the game off. Let's move on to tonight's game, Bruce. In very bad weather in Dallas, but of course they'll be inside in Arlington. And this spread just seems to it's Ohio State money is the best way I can put it. 6 right now. It had dipped down to 5.5 briefly. We're even seeing some 6.5s in some places right now. Ohio State and Texas. So the total tonight of 52.5.
Yeah, and the odds makers have been really careful not to push this thing up to 7. I think from what we're seeing, about 2/3 of the tickets have been written on Ohio State, and almost 80% of the money has come in Ohio State. So that's a lot of one-way traffic there. They haven't moved this number too much. It's probably because it's right near a key number there. We'll see. But you know me in Ohio State. My thought here is we will know in the first quarter how this thing is going to go tonight, because Ohio State has started so quickly. Devastatingly so. And I give Ryan, I don't like to give Ryan Day credit, but I will give him credit. His team was ready to play right from the off against Tennessee and against Oregon. 21-0 first quarter against Tennessee, 34-0 by midway in the second quarter against Oregon. Those games are basically over at that point. In Texas's favor, though, the Longhorns have generally started pretty quick themselves. They're usually out to a lead in these games. Their problems have come, and a lot of times, we saw the ASU game, they did have an early, not a big lead against Georgia in the SEC title game. Texas A&M, they couldn't put away. Arkansas, same sort of thing. Even the Kentucky game down the stretch, they sort of go flat. But they do start kind of quick, and I think that's important here, psychologically at least for Ohio State. I want to see how the Buckeyes react if the game is 3-3 at the end of the first quarter, maybe 3-0, maybe 0-0. Maybe Texas gets an early lead 7-3. I think the dynamics completely change then. And Will Howard is good, and they've played better, much better, the last 2 games than they did at any point this season. I mean, they made Oregon and Tennessee look like Purdue. But I have a hard time thinking Texas is going to get run off the field here. They've got so much speed on this defense. They've got a lot of playmakers. I think they can do some things to limit the damage that Howard is doing. I think how they contain Jeremiah Smith is obviously a big portion of this, but I think they got as good a chance as anybody to do it. And it's just going to be up to Quinn Ewers and that offense to have some sort of continuity. But starting quick is important. I don't think Texas goes down 10-0, 14-0 early. They're in big trouble tonight. But they keep this game closed after the first quarter. It just changes the whole dynamic after it. And that's what I'm going to watch tonight.
So you're advocating a wait and see, and then getting on an in-game wager more so.
Yes. Yeah, I think I would. Although if I had to do something right now, I'd probably take Texas plus right now. It's just because everybody else is all this Ohio State talk, and we've seen this before. Usually a team just doesn't go at this level and just run roughshod through like the Super Bowl Shuffle Bears did in '85. I mean, it's very tough, especially a year like this in college football, especially since Ohio State didn't really show that before the playoffs. Texas, it's not in Austin tonight, but it's maybe a little regional edge there in Arlington. I can't see Texas getting run off the field, though. So I would probably lean a little bit to Texas, but yeah, I'd prefer to wait and see how things are going in the first quarter.
Any thoughts on the total before we move on to the NFL?
Yeah, I'm thinking it might not get over. And that total's up there. What we got in
52.5 is what.
Or so now.
Yeah, 52.5, 53.
Yeah. Something tells me this might look a lot more like the Michigan game for Ohio State than it did the Oregon game or the Tennessee game. So I'd probably lean to under. Texas's games generally didn't get to be that sort of shootouts this year, so I'd probably lean under as well.
All right, 6 games in the wild card round of the NFL over Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Again, the Vikings-Rams game has been moved to Glendale, Arizona because of the fires, and that has adjusted that line about 1.5 towards Minnesota. Minnesota now 2.5 is what we're showing. Bruce, favorite plays in wild card weekend?
Yeah, now that one, while we're talking about the Rams and the Vikings, now they're playing that in Phoenix. I wonder why they didn't play it in Vegas, by the way. That would have been a little closer for the Rams fans. There's more Rams fans here in Vegas than there is in Phoenix, too. But anyway, I think the question with Minnesota, and it's not the same team as 2 years ago. The defense is better. that team really rode lightning the whole year with Cousins winning every close game. But I think there's got to be some questions about Sam Darnold after that performance last week. I know it was only one game and he's had a stellar season, but that looked an awful lot like the Darnold we'd seen in previous years. That looked more like the Jets Darnold. That looked more like the Panthers Darnold. We didn't see him much with the Niners last year, but I think that's reason for some concern on the Minnesota side. Remember, the Rams beat them earlier in the year. That Thursday game, October 24, it was at SoFi. Now, this one's not at SoFi. It's at the Cardinal Stadium in Glendale. But that's when the Rams started putting some things together. At the early part of the season when they were losing some games, Kupp was out, Nakua was out. With those two in the lineup, it really changes the whole dimension of what Matthew Stafford could do. And a lot of these young defenders, I give Les Snead really a lot of credit for filling in some of the gaps. I mean, no more Aaron Donald there in defense and some of the others, but a lot of the younger players in the Rams defense has really stepped up. And I think Stafford, despite the season Darnold had, Stafford's an edge. I'm going to take the Rams even down in Glendale, win this thing outright on Monday night. Couple of others. Tomorrow, slightly into the Chargers there, maybe an under. Houston's just not prepared this year, I think, to make a run. I know they won the first game last year, but they were playing better at the end of the season. No Tank Dell, no Diggs. Stroud's season has been very inconsistent. I think the Chargers go down there and win. Herbert has done a better job limiting mistakes. That's the Harbaugh influence. He's taken more sacks this year, but not nearly as many turnovers. So I think the Chargers probably win that. I think this number's a little high with the Pittsburgh game. And in the history of this series suggests a 10-point number. That is a lot. Until the game a few weeks ago, the previous 10 meetings in this series had all been decided by 7 or fewer, much fewer in most of those games. It's been, and I know Pittsburgh closed the season cold. I think they've over-adjusted this number too much. So maybe a little bit Pittsburgh there. My big favorite play of the week might be a totals play on Sunday night down there in Tampa. I think this one goes over. Washington consistent over this season. Tampa Bay really a consistent over. Baker Mayfield threw 41 TD passes this year. Way his most productive year. They are 11-3 to the over their last 14. Generally scoring 30 or so points per game. And I just look at this one sort of back and forth and a real shootout Sunday night. That's an over Sunday night. That might be my favorite pick of all this weekend.
All right, just a quick opinion. You don't have to give a pick on these two games, but I'm curious your thoughts about Bo Nix making his first start, rookie quarterback on the road, as is Jaden Daniels later that night. And then the Packers and Eagles, both of whom have quarterbacks who have been beat up a little bit here in the last part of the season in that second game on Sunday.
Yeah, in the Denver game, I think Denver's actually got a little bit of a chance here, although this one's either going to be like a heavy Buffalo win, 37-14, or it's going to be close. I tend to think it's going to be more the latter. Denver has got to do a job containing Josh Allen from extending plays. That's how the Lions got burned by Allen. And that's what he does. Denver's defense, those got cover guys on the corners. It's going to be up to the front 4, front 7 to sort of keep Allen contained. And Nix is making plays like every game. So I think Denver actually might be worth a look. If Love's arm is not that bad, I think Green Bay is an interesting underdog in that game against Philly. And remember, Green Bay lost a lot of these games versus the top teams, including Philly, that first game in Brazil. But all of them, almost all those games were very close. And the Eagles here, I just think the collar might tighten a bit. Hurts, it's a couple weeks now, since he's played. And he's probably going to go, but the cobwebs could still be there. I might lean to Green Bay a little bit as long as it looks like Jordan Love can throw the ball okay.
You ever been to a game in Buffalo?
I have not. I've only been in that stadium once, and it was in July. It's way the heck out there. I mean, it's not. It's not. It's, Orchard Park is like a suburb there, and it is not that easy to get to. I don't. There has been worse weather in Buffalo than they're predicting on Sunday. I think it's going to be in the high 20s.
Yeah,
I know that can impact things.
This is like a balmy for Buffalo in January. That's why I was asking. It's because of the weather. It's a somewhere between 25 and 30 degrees. There'll be about a 10-mile-an-hour wind, and there'll be a little bit of snow. And it's just like, man, These are the roughest conditions, and I can remember we did a show once where we were talking with Joe Ferguson about throwing the ball in that Buffalo wind in December and January, and it's just brutal. I mean, you've got to have just this bazooka arm to get it through that cutting wind, and Bo Nix has got plenty of arm. I'm not suggesting that, but what a tough place to go for your first ever playoff game. Yeah, hostile environment there. Although that place is not as loud as some other stadiums because it is totally open. Sound goes up. So, I mean, it is not as loud as that stadium in Seattle where you got the cantilever roof going over and a lot of other domes. So it's more, the Bills do a lot of that. They're awfully good. But that wind is the equalizer. It doesn't look like it's going to be that bad on Sunday. But you're right. The wind, that is really something. We've seen that in the past, just wreak havoc with quarterbacks up there. Bruce, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great weekend. We'll look forward to talking to you next Friday. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you. All right. Have a great weekend. We're brought to you by Total Maintenance, AC and heating, generators, electricity, plumbing. Total Maintenance, your one-stop sales and service shop for all of these needs. South Louisiana's AC and heating company since 1980, one of the oldest and largest. Service today, every day. That's the slogan because they believe in that. No one wants to go to sleep uncomfortable right about this time of year. That means if your heater's not working up to snuff. Total Maintenance expanding into the New Orleans area. Full service in both New Orleans and Baton Rouge, full staffs, authorized dealer for Carrier, American Standard, Daycan, and Rheem AC units, Generac, and Cummins generators for all of your electrical and plumbing needs as well. In Baton Rouge is 480-1000. In New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance. Live at Ruffino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Workbox Services can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial and residential. Our shipping containers come in various sizes, 8x10, 8x8, 8x20, 8x40, not just one size. These units can be customized for any use. Custom lunchrooms, offices, work sites for plumbers or welders, dual purpose, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting, using different materials, whatever you need. Give my buddy Martin Padial Workbox a call at 343-4886, workboxllc.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. I'd like to tell you about a service that's very important to my family. It's called Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing service that offers a variety of care in the comfort of your own home. If you have a loved one, like a parent or a child, who needs short-term, long-term, or care just for a few hours a week, the compassionate nurses at Decision Critical are here to help. It's not just healthcare, it's healthcare for your lifestyle. Visit DecisionCriticalBR.com to schedule a discovery call today.
Are you looking for the perfect ride for your next getaway? Rent a car for the week at All-Star Toyota and only pay for 6 days. You get 7 days of adventure for the price of just 6. So whether you're headed out on a road trip, you need a vehicle for the week, or just want something new to drive, we've got you covered.
At All-Star Toyota, we offer a wide selection of Toyota vehicles ready to hit the road when you are. Conveniently located at Airline and Goodwood in Baton Rouge. Visit us today or check out our website at allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com for more details.
All-Star Toyota, people you know, cars you trust.
Darren James and Associates, powered by LPT Realty, commit to excellent service unlike any other. Darren and his team save buyers as much money as possible. If you're ready to buy or sell your home, call Darren James or visit agent225.com. If you live in Louisiana, you know what the dozens of plants up and down the river mean for our state's economy. And since 1982, Action Industries has been committed to providing quality construction, maintenance, operational, and consulting services throughout the refinery and petrochemical industries. When it comes to safety and quality, Action Industries beats the industry standard. Call today or visit actionindinc.com. That's actionindinc.com.
Our story began in 1938 when local communities came together to bring light and power where there was none. They didn't have access to electricity like in the big cities, but they had the tenacity to build something different. A member-owned cooperative to power local homes, schools, and businesses. Back then, and still today, DIMCO is more than just an electric company. We're your neighbors, your family, and your friends. DIMCO, powering life and community. That's the cooperative difference.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED. and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to Hims. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through Hims.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through Hims.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge is your new home for the New Orleans Pelicans.
Hey, dunks it! Oh, my heavens!
Our Pelicans coverage is presented locally by Industry Makes. Visit 1045ESPN.com for a complete list of games you'll hear on 104.5 FM, 104.9 FM, and 98.1 HD2. Listen to the New Orleans Pelicans on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, presented by Industry Makes. Let others make noise. We'll make everything else.
Happy New Year from all of us at Trash Rangers of Louisiana. Start your new year out right. Visit trashrangers.com and make the switch today.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Carson Beck is on the move. Carson Beck had put himself into the NFL draft, we thought, after the injury that he sustained in the SEC championship game. Decided instead yesterday, or day before yesterday, to put himself into the transfer portal, and now has decided that he will continue his college career at Miami. There's all you got any questions about this, Max?
The Miami link makes a ton of sense.
I have like 7. So let me start with this. The Miami link makes sense because we got a girlfriend or something.
Girlfriend's there. He's from Florida. Miami needs a quarterback. They've got money to spend. They've done it in the portal already with Cam Ward this year. There's a lot of links that made sense coming into this.
If I'm an NFL general manager, I hate every one of those answers. Okay, this is me. You've been a starter at Georgia, arguably the best program in the country for the last 2 years. They're 24-3 with him as the starting quarterback. He's had his ups and downs, but he's at Georgia. Okay, he's at Georgia Tech. He's at Georgia. And if he decided to pull his name out of the draft because he got hurt and because he wasn't going to be able to throw at the combine or at pro day or anything like that, and he thought it would hurt his draft stock, and he said, you know what, I'm going to go back to school, I would get that. I would completely understand that. And he went back and said, you know what, I'll be back at Georgia. I would get that. But for him to say, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to go down to Florida. Okay, if he wants to be by the girlfriend, this is a professional decision. Okay, I want to see, if I'm an NFL general manager, I want to see Carson Beck play against Texas next year. I want to see him play against Tennessee in Knoxville. I want to see him play against Alabama. I want to see him play against Ole Miss. I want to see him play at Auburn. Those are games that are going to change my mind, and they are all over the Georgia schedule. Okay, I want to see him play against those teams. I don't want to see him play against Wake Forest. I don't want to see him play against Virginia or whoever else. You know, there'll be a couple of tough games on Miami's schedule, but there'll be far less than on Georgia. So you're leaving the premier program in the SEC, or certainly one of the top programs in the country. I need to know why, because there is no reason you can't succeed at Georgia. You've got every facility you need. You've got every teammate that you need. You've got a great head coach. I'm sorry, the record proved Kirby is a great head coach. I mean, I don't like him personally, but great head coach. And you're taking this out to go to Miami. Why? And don't tell me it's because your girlfriend lives there, because if I'm an NFL general manager, that's a really bad reason.
That's just one of the reasons. Look, Cam Ward's improved his draft stock tremendously in his time in Miami. So I think professionally
Cam Ward didn't transfer out of Georgia, though.
No, but here's where
Cam Moore transferred out of Washington State. I get that.
That was an improvement. Here's where I'll say we've seen this recently with big-name quarterbacks. Kyle McCord left Ohio State to go to Syracuse.
They ran him out of Ohio State.
Will Howard left Kansas State. Don't think there was a whole lot of pushback there. They had Avery Johnson, one of their top recruits ever to come through the program. They let Will Howard walk, and he's off to bigger and better things. I think it was
Ohio
a mutual
State's a big upgrade for them.
Better thing there.
For him, yeah.
Dylan Gabriel lets Oklahoma. Let's he leaves Oklahoma. He goes to Oregon.
He got pushed out there.
That's what I'm getting at. I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia said, you know what, Carson Beck, we got Gunnar Stockton. We've seen we want to get him involved. Beck regressed a little bit this year. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but part of me thinks in all this, it was too late to join an SEC school, right? He can't transfer into an SEC school at this point. He might have been thinking draft for a while, and Georgia might have said, look, we can move on without Carson Beck. I don't think he was maybe pushed out, but I think they're very fine with Carson Beck leaving. And I think that's part of this.
And I think you're right. And that would be a big red flag for me if I was an NFL GM. This guy's got first-round potential, high first-round potential. If I'm an NFL GM, I'm like, wait, Georgia didn't want you? Really? So you're gonna go downgrade and you're gonna go play Miami's schedule instead of Georgia's schedule. Georgia doesn't get beat financially on a player unless they want to. If there's no way now, if this was a recruit, maybe something different. If this was a transfer portal kid coming in, maybe. All right. But somebody on that team that they've gone 24-3 with as a starting quarterback, he doesn't leave unless Georgia wants him to leave.
Yeah.
And that would bother me if I was an NFL GM, why Georgia wants to ring. Georgia may be wrong. Okay. Oklahoma certainly was.
Plenty of teams have been wrong. Bo Nix, Auburn
Ohio
was
State
wrong.
was wrong on McCord.
Although it's worked out for them as of late.
It worked out for Ohio State and it's worked out for McCord, but it didn't have to. I mean, if they had known that McCord was going to play as well as he did this year, they wouldn't have run him off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it worked out for him. They took a bad shot and went through the hoop, but I don't know that it was the best play, given what I saw.
McCord had a couple of really bad games that cost them.
The Pitt game, he looked like a absolute basket case.
I think it was a trust reason that they moved on from him.
Scott, Will Howard, I keep wanting to call him Scott Howard. Scott Howard of Teen Wolf. Will Howard had an awful game against Michigan. Now, maybe part of that's Chip Kelly's fault, but I'm just saying that this would be a gigantic red flag if I'm an NFL GM. You put yourself in it because as nicely as I can put it, it does appear that Carson Beck has been coddled a little bit at Georgia. He's played with the best players. He's played on the best team. He's played with one of the best coaches. He's driving a Lamborghini around campus, and they decide that, the kid that drives the pickup truck, I'm sorry to stereotype, but one looks coddled and one doesn't. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. You want to run off? It takes a special kind of arrogance to run off a 24-3 starting quarterback unless you know something else. Maybe there's nothing to it. Maybe he just wants to go be by the girlfriend and Georgia's comfortable moving on. But I don't know. This would raise all kind of questions if I were going to draft Carson Beck.
This specifically, him leaving Georgia, I would consider it a yellow flag. Let's say, the waves are a little rough out on the beach, but it's not a red flag for me. There are bigger red flags to me with Carson Beck.
I like the mayor in Jaws. It's fine. Go back out in the water.
Look, there are bigger red flags than him leaving Georgia, in my opinion, because we've seen enough of these college coaches that have made bad decisions on letting quarterbacks go, and sometimes they're just going to a better system for them. But this happens enough now. I mean, Bo Nix is doing okay. I might have been wrong on him. I wasn't a big fan, and we'll see how he does in his first playoff game. But sometimes letting a quarterback leave is a mistake by the team that lets him walk. Now, maybe he learns from this, and maybe he matures a little bit. I have bigger questions with Carson Beck just on his ability as a whole.
He's not going to play with better players at Miami than he's playing with at Georgia. He's not going to play against better competition at Miami than he's playing with at Georgia. And the fact that Georgia's letting him walk out the door without seemingly very much of a fight would be very alarming to me. And I've changed my mind on Carson Beck because we were in Vegas for the LSU game. And we hunkered in to watch the games all day, obviously. And the first game we were watching was Georgia and Clemson. And I'm watching that game, and I'm going, man, this kid looks so much better. You know, he was good before, and he looks better. He was moving around good. He looked healthy. He was accurate. You know, the whole thing, Georgia steamrolled him. I'm like, man, this guy's starting to look like a first-round pick, and I don't think that anymore.
And they might think highly of Gunnar
and maybe
Stockton.
will it differently a year from now.
They might just want to get to Stockton really bad because they might have seen him in practice. It might be somebody they feel like they need to go to. Because, look, Quinn Ewers, to me, I know a lot of people hate on him, but he's one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz. You know, overall, he's poised and he's done a lot for Texas. And it sounds like they want to push him out the door, but for obvious reasons. I mean, Arch Manning is behind him. They want to see Arch. I get that one. But maybe they somewhat see the same in Stockton and just say, hey, Beck, you know, you probably wanted to go to the draft. You wanted to move on without us. We'll be better. Like, let's part ways.
You saw the Sugar Bowl. What did you think of Gunnar Stockton?
He was fine. He's got some
good
throws.
Stop right there. He was fine. He was okay. If I'm Georgia and Carson Beck says, I'm going to the draft and I've got Gunnar Stockton as my starting quarterback next year, and I can have him go through 15 spring practices, starter reps, and I can have him run the summer workouts like starting quarterbacks do, and I can have him go through all of August with starter reps, and then next year when they open up against Marshall and Austin Peay, and he gets to go have those 2 games to get him under his belt before they got to play Tennessee, I'm fine with Gunnar Stockton. But he didn't blow me away to the point where I'm like, man, you know what? We can run our 24-3 starting quarterback out of here because we got this guy.
Well,
I don't feel like that about
so
him.
much of this is about trust among the coaching staff, and they clearly didn't trust him wholly because he was throwing downfield a good bit. But even at the end of the game, when they were down, they were running the ball. It was like they were kind of seeing the game out. They didn't trust him completely to just throw the game away completely. But did they trust Beck? I mean, he had 12 interceptions. He had big interceptions at key moments. They could have lost.
That's my red
That's
flag.
the thing. They don't trust either, so they might as well go with the younger guy who will be around a little longer.
If Carson Beck goes down to Miami and has a year anywhere in the vicinity of what Cam Ward had this year, just puts up electric numbers, it would stay in the back of my head. Why didn't this guy stay at Georgia? So Georgia's fault, your fault, my fault, nobody's fault. Why didn't this guy stay at Georgia? Why are you looking to get out of there? Nobody. You're starting quarterback at the University of Georgia and you left voluntarily. I don't know. Would bother me. Can't say it will bother NFL GMs. If he goes and has a big year, probably go in the first round, but it would bother me. We're brought to you by Home Bank, Louisiana-based community since 1908. Great CD rates right now that you can take advantage of with low minimum balances required, so you can really start to pile up some gains even if you don't have a lot of money to invest. Local bankers will take the time to get to know you and work with you. Local bankers here in Corporate Boulevard, Sherwood Forest, Longform Village, and on Bluebonnet. Also, Home Bank locations in Acadiana, New Orleans, the North Shore, Natchez, and Houston. Visit home24bank.com for more information. Home Bank, member FDIC. We'll take a break, come back here. Some of our college basketball lines are out for tomorrow. LSU will be in Oxford, and another big day in the SEC because they're all big days in the SEC. That's next here at Ruffino's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch.
Lofton Staffing Services matches hard workers with the most sought-after employers. So Lofton, you're more than just another employee. We care about your interests and we'll match you with a company that needs your skills. You can complete an application. You can schedule an interview. You can even browse jobs. The comfort of your own home at Lofton.jobs. Lofton also offers an unlimited $100 referral bonus. Lofton Staffing Services. We've been putting people to work since 1979. 924-0200 and Lofton.jobs.
It's a new year. Aren't you ready to finally get the IRS off your back? Hi, I'm attorney Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. We've helped so many people figure out their IRS issues, and they always tell us they wish they'd called us sooner. Friends, the IRS isn't going away. Matter of fact, they're ramping up their efforts. So now's the time to call the Bryson Law Firm and let us get between you and the IRS and make your life better. If you have wage levies, bank levies, tax liens, or unpaid taxes, call the Bryson Law Firm and let us get out in front of the IRS and devise your best resolution plan. IRS problems are legal problems. So call the Bryson Law Firm. We're local. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit BrysonLawFirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Bryson Law Firm. Results may vary. LSBA filing number LA2316155.
Brandon Barton here, avid outdoor lover and owner of K to Z window coverings. Now that the temperatures are falling, I want to remind you of how much a motorized or manual screen can add to your leisure time. Help you save money monthly and essentially extend the living space of your home. How? Schedule an in-home consultation at ktozblinds.com today and find out. That's ktozblinds.com now.
K to Z window coverings.
Majestic Metals is located in Sorrento with over 60 years experience in the pre-engineered metal building industry. Majestic Metals is the leading metal roofing manufacturer with high-quality products, superior customer service, and a fast turnaround. We offer both commercial and residential roofing, including a standing seam panel in a variety of colors with a 40-year paint warranty. A metal roof can add value to your home and is energy efficient. Call Majestic Metals at 225-675-3800 and talk to our knowledgeable sales staff for all your commercial and residential needs. Visit us on the web at majesticmetalsinc.com.
Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood? Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood. Well, I guess along with those sizzling steaks, we do have wood-fired oysters and scallops, beautiful sea bass, fresh Gulf fish and shrimp, and rich Ora King salmon. So yeah, Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood. Jefferson Highway across from Palermo Ristorante. Tell Leo that Kevin sent you. And don't forget, there ain't no cake in that crab cake. Come and see us.
For service you can feel, you gotta call Capital City Comfort.
When your HVAC system is in expert hands, your home's comfort is effortless. From fast repairs to seamless installations, Capital City Comfort is committed to delivering expert service you can feel all year long. Visit online at capitalcitycomfort-br.com.
For service you can feel, you gotta call Capital City Comfort.
Take a swing around the parish to one of Breck's 5 golf courses, 2 championship courses, Santa Maria and Beaver Creek, and 3 courses for the more casual golfers, the popular 18-hole Webb Park, and 2 9-hole courses, City Park and the newly renovated J.S. Clark. Breck's courses are designed to challenge every level of golfer from beginner to pro. So come and get into the swing of things. Book your tee time online or find a course near you at golf.breck.org. That's golf.breck.org.
Louisiana Association of Broadcasters is accepting applications for the 2025 Broadcast Scholarship Program. I'm Patricia Caputo, a recipient of the 2024 scholarship, here to tell you that 2 $4,000 scholarships are available to Louisiana mass communication students pursuing an education and career in broadcasting. Visit broadcasters.org or call 1-800-364-7260 for details. The application deadline is January 24th, 2025. We hope to hear you on the air soon.
Live at lunch with Otten Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
We'll be back at the Beau Rivage this weekend for Football Sunday, starting at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. Max, you'll be pinch hitting for Jimmy, and Rohan will have all of our normal contributors. Mike Delicano, Rohan Davey will be down with us at the Beau Rivage. Carl Jack Johnson, the sportsbook manager down there, as well as Andy Isco and Paul Nolan, Randy McKay. So lots of stuff going on for a wild card weekend in the NFL. We'll be down at the beautiful Beau Rivage in Biloxi. All right, we got a lot of basketball this weekend too. Most of the lines are out now, Max, for the SEC games tomorrow. There's not a lot of ranked matchups outside of the conference, but there's a couple that are inside. Let's we'll start with LSU. It's a 5:00 game on the SEC Network tomorrow. LSU an 8.5-point underdog is what we're showing right now. It seems a touch light to me. I don't know about you. Ole Miss has opened up with 2 wins in the conference. Both of them fairly convincing wins. They won by 7 at Arkansas the other night. I actually think LSU's got a decent shot at the Assembly Center against Arkansas next week. Maybe one of the few games that they, it'd be a short point spread. But I think going on the road here is a little bit much. I think Ole Miss is probably my choice here. If I had to, it's probably not a game I'll play, but I would think that Ole Miss will cover that number.
Yeah, not totally sold on Ole Miss just yet. Want to see a little bit. Obviously, we'll watch them pretty closely in that game, but it's tough to really back LSU at this point. in conference play.
The coach is pretty good. Their losses are to Memphis and Purdue, so nothing to be ashamed of. The better games in the conference tomorrow. Kentucky and Mississippi State. Let's kind of work backwards. That's the last game at 7:30 tomorrow night. State's kind of salty, man. Chris Jans has got them playing. He's a really, really solid coach. They play defense. Now, it's been a light schedule for them to open up here with South Carolina and Vanderbilt, but they are about a 4-point choice, I think, is what we're showing against Kentucky tomorrow night.
Yeah, 4.5-point favorites. Anytime you host Kentucky, you know there's going to be a crowd there. Saturday night, it'll be raucous there. They've got a really tough schedule coming up. Auburn, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. The Auburn-Tennessee games both on the road. So, like everyone in conference play, the schedule's getting real, and feels like this would be a good start for them to go 3-0. Granted, facing, like you said, two pretty easy opponents to start with, but I think that they will be energized, and I kind of side with them in that game, I'd guess.
Kentucky threw in a real clunker the other night against Georgia. Now, Georgia maybe. Well, everybody's good in this league. I don't think there's anybody that's really bad. But they went from scoring 106 points at Rupp to shooting 37% on the road against Georgia the other night. So not sure how much I trust Kentucky away from Rupp right this second. Might side with the home team there. Alabama is at Texas A&M. We don't have an official line on this, and I'm guessing why is because of the uncertainty around Wade Taylor. Now, A&M had a terrific comeback win in the midweek game without Taylor at Oklahoma. Really, really nice win for them. I remember how many. You remember how many they trailed by in that game? I think it was double digits, or pretty close to double digits. So it was like maybe it was a 9-point game at the half, 9 or 10-point game at the half.
They were down 14.
They were down 14,
15 actually in the second half.
Okay.
So,
and they came back without
18,
Taylor.
18.
They got down as many as 18.
18 in the second half.
It was 9 at half, and they got down as many as 18 and came back on the road without their best player. That's pretty strong. Of course, Alabama's been phenomenal. You've been thumping pretty much everybody. A&M,
they would be about a 2-point favorite if Taylor plays. I'm tending to think that he's not going to play, just reading the tea leaves on his injury. So I would guess you might see Bama open as a small favorite on the road.
That's a 7:00 game on ESPN. Speaking of Oklahoma, they go to Georgia. This is one of the ones that you like, you said?
Yeah, so Oklahoma starts 0-2 in conference play. They're one of the better teams, certainly the better team of the 0-2 conference teams right now. You got Arkansas, Texas, LSU, of course, and South Carolina that are winless in conference play. They just had a tough start to things. And Georgia coming off a big win against Kentucky. It's a bit of a sandwich spot if those exist in basketball. Coming off the win against Kentucky, they've got at Tennessee on deck, followed by home against Auburn. So they've got a real gauntlet, and Oklahoma just really needs this win. So I could see them going on the road. It's always tough to back a road team in the SEC play right now, but I kind of would lean towards taking the 4.5 with the Sooners.
Oklahoma got dinged for what was a light non-conference schedule, but it wasn't without some significant wins in there. They beat Arizona and Michigan, and I don't think either one of those games were in Norman, so it's not like they didn't beat anybody. Tennessee is at Texas. Tennessee got humbled the other night against Florida. Offensively, they were a mess. They barely got to 40 points in that game. Now they go to Texas. Texas got routed by Auburn the other night. I know it wasn't on the scoreboard. It ended up being a 5-point game, but that game was not that close. Texas got made up a lot of ground late. They were down double digits as late as 2.5 minutes to go in that game. So it's something Auburn really controlled, and Texas never had the ball with a chance to tie or take the lead. I didn't think that the game was nearly as close as what the final said. So I'm not going to make a living backing road teams in the SEC, but this might be a spot for Tennessee to bounce back.
And the Moody Center is going to be raucous for this one, but Paul Stone, talked to him on Monday. He sort of mentioned that Texas is a real candidate for a team that will fall apart down the stretch in conference play. There's going to be a few of them. LSU and South Carolina right now seem like the worst teams in conference play, but I think Arkansas and Texas are candidates to maybe find themselves working themselves out of the tournament. Right now, Texas listed as an in by Joe Lunardi, but already an 0-2 start in conference play. I think Tennessee comes out strong. They're a 6.5-point favorite. They've got something to prove after that just shellacking in Gainesville.
For Texas, the losses, every time they played somebody that was good, They lost. They lost to Ohio State. They lost to UConn. They lost to Texas A&M. They lost to Auburn. And they piled up a bunch of wins. The only significant win in their non-conference slate was against Syracuse or NC State. NC State. I should have mentioned that one. Those two games, but the rest of it was a big bucket of yuck. So I don't know how good they are at this point. And one of your favorite plays is one of the, I would say, low-profile games tomorrow is Vandy and Missouri. We've seen both of these teams now. And this is your favorite play of the day.
I think so. Missouri's laying 3.5 at home. We tend to think about 5-point advantage for home court. I watched both these teams play LSU, and I know Missouri was at home when they played them, but I'm much more impressed this season with what Missouri's done than Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had a light schedule. They just lost to Drake before losing in the conference play this past game. But Vanderbilt on the road, just getting 3.5. To me, they're telling you Missouri is not the better team. And I think from what I've seen, Missouri is the better team.
This is the time of year I just absolutely love because you interspace between all of the playoff games. You've got some really good college basketball and all of that. In the SEC, there's not a lot of ranked matchups outside of the league on Saturday. There's some Big Ten action on Sunday that might be of some interest. We may talk a little bit about that on Sunday.
A couple good games in the Big 12. Iowa State, whose lone loss is a 2-point loss to Auburn. That's no sweat there. I mean, that's a neutral site loss to Auburn by 2. They go on the road to Texas Tech, who's pretty good team in their own right. So that's a good game. And then Kansas-Cincinnati, Kansas on the road. That's another sort of pick 'em game. So two games that look very close, at least in the Big 12.
If Iowa State were playing the Nuggets at home, I think I'd take Iowa State. They are so tough to beat there, but this game is in Lubbock, so no, they're very good, very, very good. We're brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff have helped us, man. You get a back injury, you get a neck injury, you're just feeling, man, this is not letting me move around the way I want to, that constant pain. Let them help you out. Let them get you to feeling better. Sometimes they can just work with you, get it to an exercise and stretching program, call it prehab a little bit, if you will. But it will get you to feeling a little bit better. But if you do need to progress to a dry needle or electric nerve stimulation, cryo or ultrasound therapy, we can handle those things as well. They're going to target your problem areas. They're going to get you to feeling better. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway, near Drusilla, Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. We'll take our final time out, come back and wrap things up here at Ruffino's on Highland Road, live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Do you feel like you get hurt at the most inconvenient times? Brock's After Hours Clinic has you covered.
Whenever you're ready.
It's rolling.
This is Charles Hannegriff. Join me and Max Gotro from the Biloxi. Not the Biloxi. This is Charles Hannegriff. Joined Max Gotro and myself from the Beau Rivage in Biloxi on Monday, recapping a big weekend in the NFL with Wild Card Weekend and, of course, the college football playoffs. Live at lunch, 11 a.m. from the Beau Rivage on Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Line at Goodwood in Baton Rouge. Visit us today or check out our website at allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com for more details.
All-Star Toyota, people you know, cars you trust. When it comes to building and property inspections in Southeast Louisiana, go with the certified experts, Avid Inspection Specialists. From homes to businesses, or mold, lead, or asbestos inspections, they have the latest technology to give you peace of mind. AvidSpecialists.com.
LHI 11331.
Are you an annoying know-it-all? Answering questions no one asked of you? Do people often ask you, how do you sleep at night? Then you should go to Mattress Firm. They have knowledgeable sleep experts specifically trained to help match you with the right mattress. So anyone, even people like you, can sleep. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Need parts fast? O'Reilly Auto Parts has fast. Need them now? We've got now. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. We're O'Reilly Fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Water is water, right? Not when it's Evermore. Smooth tasting Evermore water is Mother Nature's masterpiece. Evermore is natural artesian water. Maybe you want a healthier lifestyle, a high-end athlete who wants better hydration, or a parent who wants something healthier for their kids. You want Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore. Available at great local retailers.
Honesty, integrity, attention to detail, and dedication. Lewis Mechanical Contractors has been providing top-quality plumbing services to Baton Rouge since 1960. Your peace of mind was their business then and still is now. Whatever you need, repair, installation, replacement, they are the area's trusted source for all plumbing jobs, big and small. Call 927-6520. That's 927-6520.
Lewis Mechanical, keeping plumbing humming.
This is Charles Henniger for Supreme Rice. I sort of feel like a member of the Supreme Rice family because they're from Southwest Louisiana, just like me. So when you're enjoying Supreme Rice, the perfect complement for all your red and white beans, stews, gumbos, and etouffees, know that you're also supporting our Louisiana farmers and stretching your food dollar at the same time. Supreme Rice, for the last 80 years, has been delighting their customers. So pick up Supreme Rice the next time you shop. For more information and unique recipes, learn more at supremerice.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. If you missed the show, you can always check it out on demand at 1045ESPN.com, the 1045 ESPN app, or the After Further Review YouTube channel. AFR On Demand, brought to you by Breck Golf. Book your tee time today at golf.breck.org.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
Live at lunch with Otten Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 1045 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jalen Hurts has cleared the concussion protocol. He will start for the Eagles against the Packers on Sunday afternoon, and Deshaun Watson has torn his Achilles again. The most disastrous signing in NFL history, I would say, at this point. If you'd have told us this 5 years ago, this would be the fate of Deshaun Watson, I never would have believed it, but is what has happened. All right, Max, moment of truth here. Who you like in the playoff game tonight?
I think Ohio State wins. Maybe you put them in a parlay. I want to say 6 is a lot, to be honest, but I kind of see
6 is a lot.
I kind of see points in this game. I've said it for a while now. I think the hate on Quinn Ewers is a little bit too strong. He does a lot of good things. He's good against pressure. Texas, I think their defense is a little bit overrated, so that's why I'm going to play the over in this game. It's dropped a little bit. It's gone down to 51.5 now at the Queen. 51's a key number, so I'd love if it got down to that. But I think Ohio State's going to score. I don't think Texas, Colin Simmons off the edge is huge for them. He's going to have a big game for them to win. But I think Ohio State, unless, like you said, we're all worried about the offensive play calling. If that stays the same as it has the last couple games, I like what Ohio State can bring to the table offensively, and I think Texas does enough as well to keep up with the scoring.
Yeah, I'm going to play the over, too. I would play Ohio State if I had to play the side one way or the other, but there's just enough Texas. I've underestimated some of these teams, and Texas is one. I played against them with Arizona State, but it's one of the few games that I've had. I've had a rough go in these playoffs. Had Penn State last night. So my initial inclination is Ohio State has looked so good. Peter Burns had a good you'll get this golf analogy right away. You're a golf guy. Peter Burns from the SC Network had a great analogy today. He goes, Ohio State is the golfer that goes out and shoots 62-62 on the first 2 rounds. He can't possibly do that again. Can Ohio State – they can't have looked any better in the first 2 games. Are they going to – I mean, it's tough to ask a team to play at that high of a level for – 3 straight weeks at the college level.
Maybe Ohio State Scotty Scheffler. Who knows? Maybe he'll shoot another 62.
No, it's possible. Look, I mean, put it this way, in 2019, I wasn't betting against LSU because they had put that many games in a row together.
Texas has been challenged now. That's the difference. You know, they've been challenged a few times, so they've seen what's coming. Maybe Ohio State's a different level, but they're a little bit aware of what this physicality is like.
Yeah. You like anything in the NFL tomorrow?
Saturday, I think I'm going to play a little bit on the first half over, Chargers-Texans. There's a tendency to think Jim Harbaugh is going to want to slow the game, run the game, establish the run, but they've gone 4 straight overs. They're trusting Justin Herbert a lot more lately. Texans obviously have a great secondary, but the Texans did it a little bit last year, blew out the Browns defense in the wild card round in the first game. So I think the tendency with these coaches is to think they're going to want to run the ball, see the game out, establish the run and stuff. But first half, Jim Harbaugh in his playoff career actually has been a little bit more of an over tendency. So I like the over 20.5. It's under 21, so I'm going to play that in the first game.
I'm shock you. I found a prop bet that I liked. This was real. I'm trying to remember where
I thought you were done with those.
I am. Yeah, this is a recommendation for you to do.
Okay.
Max. Joe Mixon under 73.5 rushing yards. Chargers 5th best run defense in the league. And if you've seen in some of the matchups against some of the top rush defenses, Houston hasn't been able to run the ball against top 10 run defenses. He's averaging 30 yards a game during the regular season. So in that game, a little bit of a keep Mixon under the total.
The problem I have with Bobby Slowick, that's the OC for the Texans. He likes to run the ball in early downs. He beats his head on the wall. First and second down, he puts C.J. Stroud in third and longs, and that's why we've seen a little bit of the regression from Stroud this year.
And I ain't messing with them dirty Steelers again, man. They did me wrong last week. I had the Bengals. I thought I was on the right side. I still think I was on the right side. And I want to take the Ravens so bad because I think they're gonna roll in this game. But it's Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I ain't taking those points with Pittsburgh. They look too bad, but I ain't laying them either. That's too many in a playoff game. Thanks to the folks here at Ruffino's. Come on out. The butternut squash and shrimp bisque, the tempura fried cauliflower, pan-seared blue cobia, pork ossobuco, and fried ice cream among your lunch specials today. Football Sunday from the Beau Rivage on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Please join us for that, and on Monday for the show, also from the Beau Rivage as well. Thanks to the folks here at Ruffino's. From all of us here and Jordan back in the studio, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you. Good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Thibodeau Store and the Pierre Part Store, sister properties, helping you with home improvements. If that's your New Year's resolution, clean up some of these projects around your house. Let the experts at these 2 facilities help you out. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you can waste time and you can waste money, and then the project doesn't come out right, and you got to start all over. Don't rely on a YouTube video when you can talk to an expert. It'll get you with the right supplies, text you the right techniques, and you can save money without having to hire out for a contractor. So whether you need power tools or hand tools, paint, concrete, plumbing supplies, electrical supplies, all of them available at the Thibodeau Store. Lumber deliveries out of the Pierre Part Store available too. Custom-made cypress, furniture, crawfish pots, jambalaya pots, and a ton of fishing gear. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau. And online with free delivery, it's the Thibodeau Store, ThibodeauStore.com.
Finding the right personnel for your organization.
All right, see you guys Sunday.
See you, Jordan.
Okay.